to clap. You don't have to fight the urge. You can cheer if you'd like. Oh, that was so genuine and unprompted. It's a beautiful day in the neighbor pool. A beautiful day to be Deadpool. It's story time. Story time. We got any fans of Mr. Rogers out there today? Right. I'm a pretty big fan of Captain America myself. Are you all ready for story time? Well, that's good to hear because I certainly have a story to tell. Gosh, I love to talk. Today's story is a beloved bedtime classic, mashed up with a very profitable licensing agreement. You guessed it, it's Cinderpool. Thank you so much for clapping. Now that I have my little reading glasses on, I can see you all in 4K. Wow. So many shining, shimmering, splendid faces out there today. Well, that doesn't work. Okay. See if we can find the opening words. Look how adorable Dogpool is, by the way. Got any Dogpool fans out there? Wow. Thank you so much for cheering. I scribbled all of these myself. All right. Once upon a time. You know what? It just feels wrong when I'm doing it with myself. Why don't we all say it together, shall we? 1, 2, 3. Once upon a time. Okay, that was all right. We can work on that for the next show. Well, anyway, upon that time, once, Cinderpool lived in a big mansion with his shiny-headed step-professor and a bunch of hideous step-mutants. The biggest one, Colossus, was always making up stupid rules that no one cared about. Like, please stop labeling other people's food in the fridge with your own initials. And for the love of Feige, stop hanging your underwear from the ceiling fan. How else am I supposed to air that out? Well, anyway. The other main step mutant, Negasonic Teenage Warhead. Yeah, such a cool name, right? Well, she was always just texting and rolling her eyes. They were both super jealous because Cinderpool had a much, and I do mean much, larger fan base. Yeah, thank you. They don't call this story time with Colossus now, do they? One day, an expendable non-union extra came running across the mansion grounds, screaming. King Thanos was planning the biggest battle of Phase 3. The last truly relevant phase. Cinderpool desperately wanted to go to this big battle, but Colossus said, no. Too dangerous. Cinderpool don't know how to be part of team. And then Colossus ripped up Cinderpool's nicest costume before Negasonic Teenage Warhead, again, such a cool name, made it explode into a million pieces with her mind powers. And then popped her gum. Ah, so Gen Z. On fleek, Sigma, no cap. Cinderpool was very bummed and felt very vulnerable and exposed. Minus 100,000 aura, as Negasonic would say. He ran out onto the mansion grounds, stumbling for dramatic effect. How you doing? And suddenly, a big, strange, sparkly circle appeared. And from out of that big, strange, sparkly circle walked out Cinderpool's very hairy god mutant, Wolverine. He's definitely here, you guys. I said, Cinderpool's very hairy god mutant, Wolverine. My arm's getting tired, Logie Bear. All right, well, I guess Wolvie couldn't make it in today. That's fine. I know he said he'd be here. I wasn't really lying. It was more of an educated wish. That's okay. I don't think Disney had the rights to him back then anyway. Besides, I'm honestly used to doing it with myself, so I'll just play both characters. Oh, very hairy god mutant, Wolverine! I desperately want to go to the big battle, but my mean step mutants vaporized my costume and shut up! Growled Wolverine lovingly. What? Well, I need a new costume. I've got to go to that big battle I was talking about earlier before you arrived. Oh, stop your whining, all right? Forget about it. I'm going off to Pim's Test Kitchen. Stop writing me into these dumb stories, why don't you? Come on. Okay. Well, after that very sage and somewhat Australian advice, Cinderpool went up to the wardrobe department to get a freshly laundered costume. Now that he was looking so cutesy and oh so demure, he finally headed off to the big battle. Cinderpool missed most of it, though, because he stopped for some delicious chimichangas along the way. Yeah, you know, priorities. But rest assured, when Cinderpool got there, the Avengers were still winning. Captain America looked so cool and so ruggedly handsome in those pants. I just love Mr. Rogers. And Cinderpool's fairy hairy god mutant was still not here. But then, as the aliens were finally fleeing away in defeat, Cinderpool saw something on the steps of one of the spaceships. It was a single glove. And a high five for a child. There you go. You're welcome for the core memory, kid. Oh, this glove was so fancy. Big and gold with beautiful jewels. I think there were 6 of them, not that that's really relevant information. I wonder who this fits, thought Cinderpool before trying it on. After some clicking, whizzing, and whirring, it adjusted right to Cinderpool's arm. Then, out of nowhere, Iron Man came flying in out of left field, screaming, "Hey, please take that off. This is my sacrifice, all right? I really don't want to be Iron Man until I'm 90. In fact, I would rather be doomed than be Iron Man again. Doomed, I tell you. Trust me, I am just as confused as you guys are. All right, and then other, much less relevant Avengers came running in too, saying things like, "Please put that down. It's not a toy. Whatever you do, do not snap." Yeah, you're right, kid. Obviously, Cinderpool did snap. Oh, Cinderpool snapped a bunch, both physically and mentally. And then the weirdest thing happened. It was probably unrelated to Cinderpool's actions, but half of everyone kept disappearing and reappearing and then disappearing again. So many people were crying. Tony said, "I love you" like 3,000 times. It was kind of a mush fest, to be honest with you. But eventually, everyone did come back. Well, everyone except for those that text and call during a movie theater experience. We didn't want them back. Yeah, but everyone else did. But then the Avengers tackled Cinderpool, ripped off his new favorite glove, and when they went on to remake the movie, they CGI'd Tony's head onto Cinderpool's luxurious body, and it went on to become the most profitable film of the Feige cinematic universe. The FCU, as I like to call it. I know, I'm still workshopping that acronym. I feel like there's just one too many letters. Well, anyway, everything honestly worked out for old Cinderpool, because Cinderpool went on to start his own, even more successful franchise, yeah! That's right. Who's relevant now? It was so successful, in fact, that Cinderpool was eventually invited to be part of the Avengers Endgame 2, Electric Boogaloo. Yeah, in theaters at, well, some unannounced point. I can't wait to find out why Thor was crying. Well, anyway, thank you all for coming to another illustrious story time with your new favorite Disney princess. Yeah.